The reason why it is so crucial for Liz Cheney and these people to destroy the truth and create their own narrative is because that is 100% exculpatory. It's bad enough that they're trying to pin him with this, even though they don't have any evidence whatsoever. They have counter evidence that he had no role, not only in an insurrection, but that he offered to help the city, the capital, whoever would listen, to prevent an insurrection. Liz Cheney, I have serious problems with her beyond the obvious. That January 6th committee has been used to push an agenda for years, just as the Russia collusion was and all the rest. A myth has been built around it by the state-run Democrat Party, one-party media in our country, utterly corrupt. It has been pushed by the Biden administration. Donald Trump has been indicted, ostensibly about January 6th, even though the charges have nothing to do with January 6th. The Ku Klux Klan Act, last time I checked, January 6th was well beyond the Ku Klux Klan period. But anyway, and so they keep lying. And it's really intended to intimidate most honest, law-abiding Trump supporters, or let me put it this way, Biden opponents. And so we have this January 6th committee, which always reminded me of some kind of a Stalinist panel, which is exactly what it was. And the kingpin of that committee, the leader, was actually Liz Cheney. She was out to get Trump. She was out to get Trump because she disagreed with Trump on foreign policy. You can see that also with John Bolton. I have disagreements with people. Doesn't mean I want to send them to prison, but that's not the mindset of people like her. There's a couple of big issues here. We have to thank Representative Loudermilk for, among other things, digging into what took place with that committee. He's investigating it. He so far has found that enormous amounts of data have been destroyed or are missing or are behind encrypted walls that they can't penetrate. Why? Well, the former chairman of the committee acts stupid because he is stupid. Liz Cheney has never answered for it. And you actually have testimony by individuals. They interviewed, believe this or not, thousands of people. What? And they have nothing? Not one syllable anywhere of proof that Donald Trump did anything? So they have to concoct it, manufacture it, fictionalize it. And so you have on the one hand this material missing, but they're digging and they are finding some things. For instance, the other day they learned that the deputy chief of staff to President Trump at the end of his presidency, a former Secret Service agent, that he testified under oath that yes, in fact, Donald Trump did offer the National Guard, and that, in fact, he overheard a discussion with the mayor of Washington, Bowser, who turned it down. And he had other information that supports Donald Trump's position. Because the committee said in its report that there's no evidence that Donald Trump actually offered or ordered the National Guard. A president doesn't order the National Guard. He offers it to a mayor, in the case where you don't have a governor, or to the governor. He doesn't order them in unless it's an insurrection issue or something like that. I mean a real insurrection, like a foreign insurrection. So Trump said it did happen. Kash Patel, who was the chief of staff to the Secretary of Defense, he said it happened. And the former acting Secretary of Defense, according to Liz Cheney, said the opposite. And he has said since that she and the media have been twisting what he said. And this is the conclusion they reach. Furthermore, this group issued a report yesterday, 81 pages, the Loudermilk report, and it indicates contradictions in Cassidy Hutchison's testimony. She was the key witness, you might recall. And we also learned, listen to this, that she not only testified totally differently the first 2 or 3 times, but she met with Liz Cheney. She then fired her lawyers. She then hired lawyers suggested by Liz Cheney. And Liz Cheney, after interviewing her and talking to her, had a court reporter, a video, and a deposition taken of Cassidy Hutchison by herself. Liz Cheney, Cassidy Hutchison, the court reporter, and the videographer. Once she got the testimony she apparently wanted, Liz Cheney went to the committee, and the next day or the day after, they called an emergency public hearing. Remember all that? They found information, and all the media came and so forth, and that's what it was. She's since now been sued for libel by Tony Bobolinsky, who said she's a liar, about him anyway. The testimony contradicts prior testimony, and this information about this one-off interview and so forth, the committee wasn't aware of it until she came forward, was unknown as well. And this gentleman, the deputy chief of staff, who said what I said he said, who said, no, Trump did, in fact, offer the National Guard. His testimony is not in the report. You believe this? And he was never called as a witness. Now, on radio last night, we pulled up the clip of my interview with the acting Secretary of Defense at the time, Christopher Miller. I believe it was in February of last year, 2023. And I want you to listen to my interview of him and what he had to say. It's very, very, very important. Go. Were you in the meeting January 3rd or January 4th with Kash Patel and others in which President Trump offered or authorized National Guardsmen to protect the Capitol?
Yeah, I was there, and that's been totally misinterpreted by so many politically motivated.
Stop. He's talking about Liz Cheney. Totally misinterpreted. Now, in my view, she's been lying about this. She's very, very diabolical, in my view. Go ahead.
And politicians, yeah, we were there. President was quite clear. He said, provide whatever support you need to the federal and local officials to protect protesters and demonstrators that day. Yeah, I was with Kash.
Did he mention the National Guard, as Kash has said and others have said?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's all on the up and up. The National Guard is, as you know, but a lot of your listeners, learning about this. The National Guard, he controls the National Guard in the District of Columbia because it's not a state. Normally the governor does, but since there's no governor, the president does. He delegated that authority to me, and I was in charge of the National Guard for that episode and for those events. So, yep, Kash was there, and President, and he also called me, I think on the 5th, and talked about it. So, yeah, he was very clear about.
Stop. He was very clear about it. There were witnesses there. He also called them the day before, just to say, do we need anything? Do they need any help? And so forth and so on. The reason why it is so crucial for Liz Cheney and these people to destroy the truth and create their own narrative is because that is 100% exculpatory. It's bad enough that they're trying to pin him with this, even though they don't have any evidence whatsoever. They have counter evidence, what we call material exculpatory evidence, that he had no role, not only in an insurrection, but that he offered to help the city, the Capitol, whoever would listen, to prevent an insurrection. You have the President of the United States who says, do they have what they need? Do they have the resources they need? Do they have the protection they need? He's offering the military. It's turned down by Bowser. It's turned down. He delegates it to his acting Secretary of Defense. He calls the acting Secretary of Defense. You heard him. The day before, January 5th, and says, okay, you sure we got everything we need? Yeah, we have it. It's really up to them. Mark Meadows, the former chief of staff, he testified that, in fact, they had positioned Special National Guardsman unit to move quickly if there was a problem from Andrews Air Force Base to the Capitol. So, the hell are you charging them with anything for? Oh, his speech. And then, of course, they cut out peaceful. It's a complete setup, folks. It's so horrendous, and the media are in on it.
For all this and much more, sign up for Levin TV.